Craigslist, a place for cheap couches, used cars, part-time jobs. But every once in a while, behind an innocent ad, something waits. Welcome back to Spook Asylum. You've found the place where the lights never stay on, and the doors only open one way. I am the pale narrator, and tonight I'll tell you 3 true Craigslist stories. Stories that began with trust, but ended in blood. The following stories are based on real cases, drawn from public record. Names and key details have been preserved, though the retelling has been shaped for a horror audience. Some may find the events disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Story number 1. The Diamond Ring. Edgewood, Washington, April 2010. James Saunders was just a husband, a father, trying to make life a little brighter for his family. He wasn't selling a car or a couch, just a ring. The kind of ring that sparkles in the light, that carries a promise, a memory. The kind of gift that could make someone's Mother's Day unforgettable. He posts the ad. The reply comes almost instantly. A young couple, polite, charming. They ask questions about the cut, the clarity. They laugh about how perfect it might look. They sound like anyone you'd want to trust. James agrees to meet them at his home. Why wouldn't he? After all, he had nothing to hide. That night, the doorbell rings. The Saunders family gathers in the living room. James opens the door, and there they are, the smiling couple. They step in, shoes tapping softly against the floor. Their eyes widen at the ring, sparkling under the warm glow of the lamp. They chat, they laugh. James relaxes a little. For a moment, it feels ordinary. And then the door opens again. Another set of footsteps enters the house. Slower, heavier. The atmosphere shifts in an instant. James looks up. A third figure. No smile, no warmth. The air grows heavy. Something is clearly wrong. Before James can react, one of the strangers moves. A hand shoots out, grabbing hold of his child. The room freezes. Every nerve in James's body catches fire. Every instinct tells him to fight, to protect. His heart hammers in his chest, pounding away. And in that split second, he moves without thinking. A gunshot explodes through the air. The sound is deafening. It rips through the walls, rattles the picture frames. James collapses to the floor. His family screams, the voices of his children twisting with terror. The strangers scatter through the room, ripping away what they want. Money, valuables, the ring. And then they vanish, leaving nothing behind but blood and silence. Sanders' home, once warm and filled with laughter, now reeks of gunpowder and grief. James never rises again. The aftermath is a blur of sirens, flashing lights, and police tape. Neighbors whisper, reporters circle like vultures. But inside the house, all that lingers is shock and a hollow emptiness that will never be filled. The killers are caught, every one of them. Their sentences stretch so long, they will never breathe free air again. But to the family left behind, that means nothing. Because no prison term, no justice can erase the sound of that knock on the door. The knock that should never have been answered. And to this day, that house still feels haunted. Not by ghosts, but by memory, by silence, by the moment a family's world was destroyed in the time it took to answer the door. Sometimes evil doesn't wait in the shadows. Sometimes it comes smiling, pretending to buy a gift, pretending to be ordinary. And then it takes everything. Story number 2. The Mustang that never was. Georgia, 2015. Bud and June Runyon. The type of couple people describe with one word: kind. They'd been together for decades. Through every season of life, through every hardship and joy, still hand in hand, still sharing the small things. So when Bud saw a Craigslist ad for a 1966 Ford Mustang, the exact model he'd driven as a young man, it felt like fate. A chance to relive a memory, to sit in the same leather seats he once had, to hear the same low growl of the engine, a dream made real again. The seller's voice on the phone was warm, friendly. He didn't rush them. The price was fair, almost too fair. But Bud and June were trusting souls. He gave them directions, a drive into the country, quiet roads, no rush. They left that morning with smiles, the kind of smiles that come from hope, from the thought of a dream waiting at the end of the road. But hours later, their tires crunched over gravel. They turned down a dirt path, one where the trees pressed in close, blocking out the sun, swallowing the sky. Their phones flickered, then went silent. No bars, no signal, just the sound of wind whispering through branches. At the end of the road, there was no Mustang, just a man waiting, and whatever warmth he'd offered over the phone was long gone. He wasn't there to sell a car, he was there for blood. By the end of that day, Bud and June were gone. Their family began to worry when the couple didn't answer calls. Friends retraced routes, driving highways and back roads. Police searched fields, barns and ditches. And when their bodies were found, the truth settled like a stone in the chest. There never had been a car for sale. No Mustang, no second chance at a youthful memory. Only a trap, laid with a fake ad, a voice that sounded safe, and a cruelty waiting in the trees. It would take years for the man to finally confess, to admit what he'd done. But for those who loved Bud and June, the confession brought no peace. Because the real horror wasn't in the courtroom. It wasn't in the trial. It wasn't even in the man who lured them there. The horror was knowing they had died chasing something pure. A car that symbolized youth, love, freedom. Only to find themselves staring into something twisted. And for those left behind, that dirt road still lingers in their minds. A road that should have led to a dream, but instead delivered them into a nightmare. Story number 3. The Nanny Job. Minnesota, 2007. Catherine Olson was 24, bright-eyed, restless. She believed in kindness. She believed in helping people. She loved children, loved their laughter, their energy, their honesty. So when she came across a Craigslist ad for a babysitter, it felt perfect. Work that matched who she was. She emailed the poster. They replied quickly. They said they were busy parents, needing help now and then. The kind of family that just needed a break. They gave her an address. It seemed ordinary enough. She got into her car the next morning. Maybe she thought about what toys the kids might have. Maybe she wondered how much she'd earn, or whether the children would even like her. The drive was quiet. Sunlight flickered through the trees. Birdsong followed her car as she turned into the neighborhood. But when she pulled up to the house, something felt off. It was quiet. Too quiet. No toys scattered in the yard. No laughter drifting from inside. No sign of life at all. Catherine stepped inside. The air was still. No pictures on the walls. No clutter from children's games. No family warmth. Just a 19-year-old man standing there, watching her. And suddenly, the job was gone. The smile was gone. The safety was gone. Because he had no kids, no babysitting job, and no family in need of help. Only a revolver and a plan. One shot, cold, final, to the back. Her body was shoved into the trunk of her own car, driven away, abandoned in a park, left like garbage. When Catherine didn't come home, her friends grew worried. They called the police. The hours stretched into panic. The next day, they found her car, and inside, Catherine's final chapter. Her killer confessed. He's still locked away, but the ad he wrote was short, harmless looking. Just a few lines of text hidden among thousands of others. To anyone scrolling past, it was nothing. But to Catherine, it was everything. It was a door she should never have opened. And that's the terror of it. Sometimes death hides in plain sight, not behind monsters or shadows, but behind words on a screen. Words that look harmless until you answer them. Three stories, three ads that looked harmless. A diamond ring, a classic car, and a babysitting job. Each one thought they were walking into a normal meeting, and each one stepped into a trap. The internet hides faces. It hides intentions. And sometimes it hides monsters who know exactly what bait to use. That's the danger of Craigslist. That's the danger of trust. Because you never really know who's on the other side of the screen. And sometimes the smiling face you're expecting isn't smiling at all. So, if you ever answer an online post, meet in public, bring someone with you, and tell people where you're going. Because these aren't ghost stories, they're true, and they could happen to anyone.